Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy giving you another reaction. We're going to be talking about the good old young Republicans and their amazing, lovely rhetoric. So, obviously, there has just been a new leak of text messages by young political leaders in the Republican Party, and they were saying some very interesting things. That's the best way I can put it. Very, very interesting. So, well, honestly, we're going to take a look at that. I find a pretty short video that kind of talks about it, and then we're going to look at the actual political article as well, just to see what we can ascertain from it.
Governor and the vice president both responding to an exclusive Politico story. It details messages between several members of state young Republican groups, including New York State young Republicans, that are racist and anti-Semitic in nature. And among those allegedly involved is Bobby Walker, who we're told is a Schenectady County resident. Nearly 3,000 pages of chats between January and mid-August reveal what Politico calls a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely. Those involved joked about gas.
See, I don't even see how people can be surprised. Like, we have Twitter. we see what goes on in Twitter. If people are willing to say the kind of crazy crap in public where other people can judge them, then how much more crazy ass shit are they willing to say in the private of their own messages amongst people that think like them? So I was not shocked in the slightest when this leak happened. In fact, I was more shocked that there wasn't a leak like this that happened sooner. That's what was shocking to me. They says that this group has been happening since January. I'm surprised this didn't come out sooner. To be perfectly honest with you.
Chambers, slavery, and rape. Multiple people in the chat are connected to New York Republicans. Pictured here in social media posts from the New York State Young Republicans, Bobby Walker. He previously worked for the state Senate Minority Leader Rob Ort and was also slated to be the campaign manager for State Senator Peter Oberacher's congressional campaign. Politico says Walker called rape, quote, epic in the chat. A spokesperson for Senator Oberacher telling Politico that Walker is no longer being brought on the campaign in light of the recent comments. And in the aftermath of the story, multiple state leaders as well as Republican figures have condemned the messages. Schenectady County Republican Chairwoman Liz Joy specifically mentioning Bobby Walker and his residency in Schenectady County. She said,
It's crazy because even JD Vance didn't do that. He tried to downplay it. He tried to, allege that, it was just jokes among friends and, it's just the cancel culture and all that crap. So even the freaking VP didn't have the guts or the decency to disavow this type of language, bro. So I think that says a lot about where we're at as a culture, or at least where they're at as a culture. I can't speak for them, of course.
quote, his statements in the published chat were indefensible and do not in any way represent the values or standards that I demand from the members of our committee. I want to be crystal clear. Anyone who degrades or bullies others in a similar way to Mr. Walker will find themselves off our committee and out of any leadership position. We have a zero tolerance.
Well, look, I do know obviously this is just specifically for Albany, so it's only New York. But when it comes to these kinds of events, I feel like there is no way that there weren't certain signs or red flags that would have been there, right? Like obviously, I know people are very good at hiding who they are, but not to this degree, and especially if it's because the guy that they reference doesn't look pretty young, and young people are not slick enough to hide their full thoughts. I mean, literally, the whole Gen Z slur thing was a trend for that very reason, because they're not good at hiding their contempt when people are saying something stupid. So I say all this to say, I highly doubt that there was no way they didn't see this coming, or there was no sign that this guy wasn't kind of crazy. But yeah, it is what it is. Honestly, at this point, let's just take a look at the article and see what we can get out of that as well. So there's quite a lot to talk about in this chat. Yeah, you see here he talks about how much they love the mustache man. But I had a couple things in mind. So the first thing I just found interesting in a bad way is, so they were talking about the vote for decide who the leader of the organization was going to be. And also keep in mind, this is an organization for people between the ages of 18 to 40, because they tried to downplay us. Oh, these are just young kids that don't know what they're doing. Like, you see that age gap right there, so like you're not fooling us. First and foremost, these aren't just edgy teenagers. Um, but beyond that, right? They were talking about the vote to be the leader, and this guy Peter. I'm just gonna say Peter G. I don't want to butcher anybody's name. Um, he, so I guess he's one of the leaders running. He says that if people don't vote for him, that they're going to be put in the chamber, that chamber. And I'm just thinking, how are you so comfortable for that to be where your mind goes next, right? You're trying to campaign for why you should be the leader of this group, why you can take this group forward. And even if it's in jest, your reaction, if you don't get what you want, is that people should be tortured. Like, you don't see what's wrong with that. You don't see what's up with that. And what's even crazier, right, is if you look through the replies to this, one of the other guys, I think this is the Walker guy, says even people that vote for them, they would want to put those people in the chamber too. So, it's like, how do you take these heavy subjects so lightly? And you see as well, you look at the reaction shots. 4 people reacted, or is it 2 people? Maybe it's 2 people. Sorry, 2 people reacted in a way to make light of that line, right? Like, and again, these aren't just random dude bros. These are the guys that are supposed to be in positions of leadership in their party. These are people that are supposed to be getting groomed to take over this party in 10, 15, 20 years. That is what this party's for. And there's 15,000 people in it. So it's not exactly insignificant as well. Then we move over to another section. And again, not taking accountability. So again, this is the Peter G, who, mind you, was the former chairman of like this organization. He specifically says that this entire thing was just some type of collusion to, quote unquote, assassinate his character, paraphrasing there. And so even when he does attempt to apologize, right, he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry to those I have offended," or whatever. You notice he specifically tries to put how many messages are in that private chat as a way to downplay just how racist and disgusting it actually is. Because it's like, oh, out of all of the chats we made, only like 1% of it was like racist and homophobic and sexist and misogynistic and all of that. So like, it's really not a big deal. But if you were offended by it, I'm sorry. Right? That's basically the trash ass apology he's trying to give out. So yeah, refuse to take accountability, and even in his quote unquote apology, tries to downplay why this is so disgusting. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, 251 times is crazy. That's insane. And also, I'm wondering why they didn't censor the R word. That is also interesting as well. I don't know why they didn't do that, but that should just tell you how comfortable they are with saying these words. And again, this is amongst a group of professionals, so you can imagine when they're kind of with just their friends, if they have any, of course, with like their quote unquote normal friends that think how they think. Just what kind of even more batshit crazy stuff are they actually saying? And before we get out of here, I want to leave you with one last gem. If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real, for real. Ain't that a bitch? Because that's exactly what's happening. Now they are cooked for real, for real. Honestly, they should like put this. Someone should make like a poster quote of this, because My advice to my fellow young people is, if you don't want to be canceled, if you don't want to be put in compromising positions like this, don't hang out with people that are going to act like this. Don't do business with people that are insane. And don't enable or participate in their nonsense. Because now they are cooked. Like, a bunch of them are getting fired. A bunch of them are regressing in their careers. And obviously, these guys are young. And given the party they're in, they're probably going to bounce back. So I doubt this is going to really do anything for them in the long run. But it just goes to show how racism, sexism, all the isms has infected young people, and how we were not going to be the generation to change things. So, because I used to think that. So, we are not in a post-racial world, as people wanted to say after the Obama presidency or during the Obama presidency. So, yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Is crazy shit going on here, man. So please stay blessed, keep after your loved ones, keep watch, and most importantly, have a good day. Goodbye.